Hello and welcome to Heartrepreneur TV Live and Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine Facebook group. We are so excited to have you here. We have a very special guest today. Her name is Carrie Farmer. And Carrie is an entrepreneur, investor, and creator of the Soul Life Treasure Hunt game system for personal life coaching. She's an intuitive encouragement coach for sensitive souls ready to rise up and transform their lives. I love it. Carrie is an advocate for self-confidence and reinvention. She has a Facebook group called Shiro, and Shiro Self-Confidence Connections. And if you find Carrie, you'll find her Facebook group as well. So welcome to the show, Carrie.
Thank you. Thank you. This is so exciting. Appreciate this opportunity.
So we have a fantastic show today. Your topic that you chose and I love is reinvention, seasons, and cycles. And I love that you're incorporating the terms seasons and cycles into it because, I mean, seasons, like when we think about seasons, the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, I mean, summer's my favorite, so I go there first. And then, but there's autumn and there's winter and there's spring. And so what are the seasons inside of the reinvention? And then they go in cycles. And I know I've had a number of cycles in my life. So just speaking about me personally, I've had cycles of 2 different marriages. I've had the cycle of being a mom and reinventing myself as a mom. I've had cycles of different careers. So that's kind of what I hear in the title that you picked for our show. Am I understanding what you're talking about correctly?
It really is so true. I have thought about this topic a lot, and obviously you and I both agree that deep inner work is where we really need to go. And for me, taking a look at what was and how it has built step by step to the culmination of what I know right now. And it's always in the power of now that you get to actually decide what's next. So there's seasons and cycles in our lives, and I'll get to that in a moment. But what I really want to share with everyone that I've discovered is the idea that each cycle that you go through is on purpose, and it's part of a maturing process. So if you were like a young seedling that came from a seed, then grew, breaking through and deepening your roots and getting more expansive and higher and deeper, then you have, how can you bash what was when you felt like a little seed stuck in dirt, getting fed all sorts of fertilizers and whatever, the stuff that most of us were going, no, we don't want that. But, essentially to really find the gems that you were able to glean from your traumas and dramas and less thans and so forth. For me, we see in each cycle a new springing forward from the depths of self-reflection, those wintry times where it might be cold and isolating, but it's a hibernating time, a germinating time for you. And then out of that springs forward more new growth and more newness. And then your springtime is where you just let it kind of develop and it bears fruit and it's just doing its thing. And then the harvest time in the autumn is where you kind of put that all to, you do the harvesting, the canning, getting ready for the next season of being more hibernating and germinating something new again. So it's refreshing, and it's a time where you can actually start to go, wow, that was a really busy time, that was really crazy, and you get to reframe it give it new meaning from what you may have thought it was with all the busy crazy. So I look at our seasons and cycles being more like 9-year periods.
Okay.
And so for each 9-year period, you're dealing with specific things. Like from 0 to 9, that's kind of like beta programming yourself. If you were a computer programmer, you'd be starting out with just kind of figuring out what you could do with this little program you have visualized, but you're learning the steps, you're learning what everybody else wants and what they need, and so on. And then about 9 years old is when most people kind of feel this spark within them of something that they really enjoy, that takes them away into this world of they find themselves a little bit more. So at age 10, you're into the second season of cycles, and so on and so forth. So about 18, then 27, 36, and 45, you probably start to go, wow, those were really important ages for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, the momentum was going from dependence, and then in your second cycle, when you're in your teens, that's independence. And you're supposed to be exploring what it is. It's like, mom and dad, I think I figured this life thing out. Give me the keys. I want to take the car for a ride. I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're feeling really confident. Everybody's going, wait a minute, you don't know about slippery slopes and icy
I
roads
know.
and hairpin curves, and we need you to be really safe. No, I got the confidence. I've got this
Yeah,
thing.
I remember seeing a Facebook post. This was a really long time ago, but it said, teenagers, get out while you still know everything. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Because I personally did move out when I was 16 years old. And yeah, it was a big learning curve. I know when you're talking about, what you said was what was builds the now. And I know for myself, as I look back on my history, and I've shared that I've had 2 divorces, I had an abusive home life. There was a lot of things that built the who I am right now. And when I talk about it with friends or other people, it's like I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but at the same time, I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing because I love who I am today. And that speaks to what you were talking about finding the gems from the traumas and dramas. And that's exactly what I did. So I love what you're teaching here today.
Yes, I consider all those experiences. If you whittle away the rough, most gemstones, they look like ordinary rocks, or they're not really much until you can crack them open, take off the rough edges, hone them down, and really shape them into
Mhm.
something that is you're treasuring. I mean, I've got a sapphire here, I've got a diamond here, I've got moonstones, and all these things that I
Mhm.
love, that have value in the world and within. And so you're finding the things, say for instance, those divorces or moving out when you're 16 because of the abuse, was motivating you to find some peace and harmony, and get the heck out of what wasn't working really well for you. And that inner strength has served you, I'll bet you, through the rest of your life. You're not going to stay in situations that aren't going to nurture something deep within your soul. And
Mhm.
hence why looking back in fear or hatred or self abuse over what was is not going to help you, because you're moving forward in every season, in every cycle. And so you're supposed to move from dependence to independence. You'll probably go through some codependence issues, right?
Might have done that.
I'll do that. I'll work in there, healing some of that. And then, it's that whole interdependence that is the rest of our lives, where we really find our place in the world. We are coming into our own. Usually after, for me anyway, it was, after having kids and, going through the whole thing with the midlife crisis that my husband was going through as we're launching our own children out into the world. He's going, I feel like I'm giving birth right now. Everything I do, everything is going into these kids and them going into the world. It's like, I can't work hard enough. I can't do enough to keep up and get ahead. And so it was really fascinating to hear his struggles with, my God, what have I done? This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful home, as the song goes. There's, and then you're in this turmoil, and once the kids do launch, and then you're finding that there's some settling back and trying to find yourselves as a couple again, because everything went into parenting roles, and that was something we noticed, that we kind of, before kids, and then when we had the kids, the kids would go to the grandparents, then we could tryst again, we could be ourselves again, then the kids would come back, and then we're back into the roles. So you just need to understand who and what you are, and how your belief systems are playing into the mindsets and who you are. So when we're reinventing ourselves, there comes a period in time after all of the producing era type things. You got the kids and you're getting all that foundational stuff done. There comes a time when it's now returns on investments, I'm going to say, and finding yourself. And you suddenly can, as a mom anyway, can look around and going, what do I want? Because now it's about finding you and reinventing you, and all those experiences, how good it is to follow your joy, follow your path.
It's interesting, as I was listening to you, and you were talking about, the children and the first 9 years, the dependence, the interdependence, the codependence, and dependence, independence, codependence, and interdependence. And I kind of see, even from a parental point of view, I went through all of those stages with my child. Right? Like when he was a baby, we were both dependent on each other. And when he was going through his teen years, I'm learning again about interdependence, about independence, right? At the same time, I'm feeling a little bit of codependence with him I think more he's going independent, I'm going codependent.
Yes, right. It's a shift because they're unstable. I found my kids were in their teenage years, they didn't really need me until they needed me. And then they'd go into this mommy kind of thing. And my heart was like, yes, what do you want? So that part of us that is nurturing and giving, and then they'd get what they want. And they were like, oh yeah, I got it. Because they know you're always there for them. And they are doing life as best they know how. And you did too. You did the best you could. I've done the best I could with what we know at the time and the resources available, and all that. It's fascinating to watch our lives become this amazing story, that whatever you thought crushed you or maybe is holding you back, making you think, well, maybe I'm not capable because, mom and dad have always bailed me out or helped me out, or I don't have that kind of support. How can I be strong and get out there and do a business or those types of things when, you've done so much giving and sharing of yourself, and your heart going into pouring into all the volunteer stuff that you've done, the career things you've done, the on and on. You end up with this whole, who am I now? Because I've given me out there.
You know, it's interesting that you share that, because of course, so my divorce occurred while my son was a teenager. And there was a period of time where my son was very angry with me and decided to move in with his dad. I'd made some choices that were calling him to stand up, and he didn't like that. And so he went and moved in with his dad. And at that point in my life, it felt like I had the identity of mother removed from me. So some of these seasons are quick and they happen really fast. And the gifts that came out of that were amazing, because in that moment I'd had wife removed, I'd had mother removed in such a short period of time, and I had to face, who am I, really quickly. And it really was so fascinating as I look back, the beauty that actually came out of that in discovering who I am at my essence. And then it was interesting because when my son did come back to live with me for a few more years, I was a different mother at that point, because I was being a mother through the discovery of myself instead of the way I was before. So it was fascinating to be able to watch.
Isn't that the truth? Because that's the beauty of being a parent, is you tend to kind of have to go back through your own childhood and reconcile the parenting that you may have judged, only to find that there's some of that innately in you that you have to likewise work through. But that awareness that you had is so powerful, because the gift that you were able to give your son ultimately out of that volcano of experiences was the role modeling that you can take a deep look at yourself, and you can look at what you need to forgive and you need to ask forgiveness for, and everybody can be real and move on and know that this is really what a real family is about. We're all growing together at various stages and maturity levels. Yeah. And yet we'll get triggered and have to go back and fix any programming issues, the bugs in our programming that we may have had back in the, so that we're moving from the alpha to the beta, and then the main programming. And you know that they're always improving and adding more to our software updates and phones and iOS and different things. Yeah. So it's always a process, and I think if we expect that to be our truth and allow that to be the okay, that I didn't have to be perfect back in the day, because I had so much to learn from all of that, that now this is my this is my goodness. This is my gem, because now I am a stronger person. I know me, and I would never go back. I would never go back.
So one of the things that you shared in your notes that you gave me so that I could prepare for our show was you were talking about how to create a successful win-win partnership with yourself. And I think it would be really valuable to our listeners. And I'm curious about what you meant by that.
Well, for me, when I was in the deepest depths of my own despair, feeling like there was nothing I could do that was right, everybody was unhappy with me, and and I didn't even feel like I had any power and couldn't really find my own peace and happiness. I just sat myself down on a table, and I just called in, well, for me, it's God. But it could be anything that's divine
Mm-hmm.
source that you feel is that deep inner knowing within yourself. However you define that, it's for me, it's um, the ultimate good, the creator, the good um, that I feel connected to and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
align with. So I'm like, all right, I just feel like I have nothing good going on. So I just started working through, all the areas of my life. And then I started rating them. And I rated them on a 5 system scale. You can do 1 through 5. You can do colored beads or whatever you want to do. But what I did was I said, in my health and wellness, my emotional, my relationships, and my material stuff and goods, the, the things that we make money with and secure our futures with and all those resources. And I just was measuring them on where I felt, rather than being right or wrong. It was more on a scale, am I in a state of awareness that it exists, but
Mm-hmm.
who knows, it's neutral. I don't really have any struggle with it. To a conflict, I have a conflict here that I can't seem to get out of the loop on. And
Mm-hmm.
then I've gotten through the conflict enough that I'm on a path. So that's where those who are on their business journeys, you've probably been through that conflict. Do I? Don't I? Maybe I do. Yeah, I think I want to. And then boom, you're out of that roundabout, so to speak, and you found your turn, and you're off on the road to reinventing your life because this is the path you've chosen. So you've got this business and you're moving along, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're still in that seeking mode. So now it's really, you're in the destination period. So think about that when you're looking at those conflicts in your life and go, is this really more I'm in a destination? I've really made a decision that I'm going this direction. So maybe it's not so much, it's more of a seeking. So that's adventure. That's getting that's getting down the road, and you're going to have stops along the way, maybe some dead ends, but you're going to keep moving because you've got a destination in mind. And then you get the clarity moments. Those are where you're going, wow, it's not here yet, I'm not there yet, but I just gotten over this rise, and I can see, if you were going to go to a city, you can see the city in the distance. You just got over that rise in the road,
Mm-hmm.
and it's there, and you're going, oh, we're there. But you're not there yet. You haven't gotten down into it, and you still have some journeying to do, and to get down the right streets and the right house, the right address, and the right door, and but essentially you feel like you're there. So where do you feel the clarity in your life, and where are you feeling the seeking in your life? And then
Mm-hmm.
the manifestation. What have I actually manifested in my life? And that was where the power was. I had more manifestations that then I was like, wow, I felt like I had done nothing in my life, but I actually have a beautiful bouquet of things that are in my life, my children, my home, my career, my my health, my this, my that, my friends, my hobbies, my when you can actually take a look at what you actually have, instead of blowing the balloon on the things, the 1 or 2 things that are going really bad, for you, that are really causing you conflict. You don't it's like you let that air out of there and go, oh, conflict is merely me generating uh, energy to move towards something I want to seek. So you can actually
Mm-hmm.
be more comfortable with the conflict, just knowing that you're negotiating with yourself. or with another? Do I or don't I? You're asking excellent questions, but what ifs and how comes? And maybe there's some you're backing off, but why is that? Well, maybe it's because of something's triggering you from a past that you haven't quite reprogrammed and made that decision to take a deep look at that and evaluate. Do I still believe that? Do I still need to believe that? Do I still need to carry this forward? Can I forgive this? Can I move it into a different reframing where it actually has blessed me, because now I have this ability to know that I've gotten through a whole lot of stuff in my life. I've had my challenges, and it's okay to feel or experience those, because the thrill of victory is so worth it in the end.
It is. It is. So what I'm hearing is that part of the process of creating that win-win partnership with myself would be to do a little bit of introspection and take that inventory of your life up until this point, so that you can get a fresh perspective of what you've already accomplished, where you are, and see yourself with a little bit more objectivity. It reminded me of there was a point in my life where my son had moved back in with his dad. He was done high school. He wasn't going to be going in for post-secondary education or anything like that. And so my financial responsibilities with respect to my son were officially complete. That's not to say that I don't, step in every once in a while and love on my son from time to time. However, the big obligations were done. And it was funny because I remember being in a workshop and making a declaration, because I was in a job that I wasn't happy with, and I was sticking with it because I wanted the pension. Pension looked really good to me, but I wasn't happy. And I was in that dichotomy, that conflict there. And I remember declaring, I am in control of my life, not the golden handcuffs, because that's what I called them, was golden handcuffs. And 4 days later, I was laid off from that job. So it was another boom, here, now you got to figure this out, right? and so that identity that I had was removed, and it ended up being the most amazing experience, because I got paid to leave a job I was miserable at, and created the next occupation at that point. So it was again a really beautiful thing that came out of something that was stressful.
That freedom, I can feel that for you. Just the amazement that synchronicity or the universe or whatever happened to just give you the desire of your heart at a soul level, of being able to go, this no longer has to be my reality. I no longer have to imprison myself into this position or this role of my life. Yeah, I love it. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that was when I made that declaration, that was a partnership moment with myself.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm hearing really clearly in what you've been sharing so far.
Yeah, the promises we make to ourselves, the encouragement we give to ourselves, the all of those things are so key to how we move forward or how we stay stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like there's that deep look, deep. Now, I'm going to say that there are certain seasons that you probably don't need to do a deep look, because you're gathering experiences. So in your teens and 20s and 30s, maybe even, but it starts to get a little heavy, and you start to having to take a look at some things. Certainly, I'm going to say in your 40s, 50s for sure, you probably really have this big bag of things that you want to declutter. You want to just hone in, and you're going to keep the memnotic memories, like the little gems. You're going to take the big boulder and whittle it down into this little gem of, you know what, this is what I learned. I do not, never again do I need to be handcuffed to a job, or committed to a disloyal relationship, or whatever those things are. They say something to you about you, and then you're free. And then it's like there's not that hanging back and holding yourself back, because there's something empowering about believing and encouraging yourself, because other people can't live your life for you. You need to do it for yourself, and you need to reconcile it and hone it into something that more carry on level, carry on bag level, and then go forward.
Absolutely. And I think that's the important blessing in these cycles, is when we allow them and participate in them from that place from the place of allowing, right? Because, we are going to go into winters. We are absolutely going into winters. That's going to happen. That's when the roots are nourishing what's going to be coming up for the new growth. And if we come at it from that perspective, rather than, oh my God, my pipes are frozen.
That's right.
Right? Then we actually can we can have that, successful win-win partnership with ourselves in the winters.
Yeah, learning to do the self-soothing, the self-love, nurturing type things will carry you through. The ability to cheerlead for yourself, all that is so much what you really need to find within yourself. Because if you make it all about the outer is ephemeral. It changes, and other people are trying to figure their own selves out, and they're doing their things, and they're on their maturity paths and seasons and cycles and whatever. So essentially you have one person alone that you really need to really hone and focus in on, and that is your own alignment to your own truth, to that which honestly is peace, love, and harmony in your life. So finding that alignment, and then you can flow in almost any situation, feeling contentment, because even if it is winter, you know that spring's around the corner. Summer's going to be here. And then you get to harvest some goodies.
Absolutely. And sometimes you just got to pop out the snowboard.
Oh, yeah, go play. And yes, exactly. Go play in the snow, because it's cold out there, but bundle up. You're fine. You've got the resources. Yep. Why not?
And that's, you can pop out the snowboard. You can go make some soup. You can sit down with a cup of hot cocoa. Like, there's so many choices during those seasons on how to nurture ourselves. So, okay, well, we are at the end of our time, and I want to make sure that, this is our harmony and balance girl here. So I want to make sure that our listeners have an opportunity to know how to connect with you. You have a self-assessment quiz that you're making available to our listeners. How do they find that?
Well, you can go to carriefarmerconnections.com and / the holdback, or you can just type in theholdback.com. It will redirect you right to that page on my website. And it's a quick quiz, about 10 questions, and it should give you some encouragement, maybe some insights. And if you want to explore your results a little further, just scroll down the page a little bit and you'll see this application to get a free 30-minute clarity call with me. We can go further and deeper and talk a little bit more about your results. And then, of course, if you wanted to do more work on the inventory of your life or anything else that I can assist you with, then we can talk further on that. But yeah, theholdback.com will redirect you over to my own website. So I'm really excited about it. It's free and easy.
That's perfect. And thank you, Regina, for doing that for us so that we can have it up on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time today, Carrie. This was a brilliant conversation. I mean, I shared with you before, this is my jam. So I love this because I've lived what you're teaching. So I resonate so deeply with what you're teaching here. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. And thank you. Really enjoyed it.
And thank you to our listeners here at Heartpreneurs with Terry Levine. And for those of you on YouTube, we'd love to hear what you got out of today in listening to Carrie share her wisdom regarding those seasons and cycles of our life. Look forward to connecting with you at our next show. Have a brilliant day.